Greetings and salutations, Mega Wizard 79 here with another episode of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. So in our last episode, we defeated the... Well, I can just let the diary speak for itself. Let's see, how do you pronounce that thing? It's the mushroom... Alright, oh, there it is. Malboro. Yeah. So we defeated that gross, fungi, or thing, or whatever the hell it is. But yeah, so we defeated that thing, and now we are ready to head to our final location for this year, the, Cthulhu... I don't know how to pronounce that name, really. But anyway, we're going to be going as Ed. Mostly because, well, for one, it's his turn, and two, it also has, lore connotations to really just bring a little tea there. But first, Mars Pass. So, fun little fact, when I played this game years and years ago, I didn't know this was actually a location you could go to. I just thought it was a weird fork in the road. It never occurred to me that I could click on it. And, like, for the longest time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do that. Alright, so every town and village will have, like, an area like this where you can just examine and then you'll just get a random item. They're mostly garbage items, to be honest. Now, the things to note here is, one, here's your little, storage guy, who's basically going to be found in each of the major cities, so you don't have to go back to your town to, get items and stuff, or deposit, or yada yada yada. So this guy here, he only does armor, and this guy is the weaponsmith. These here, they are the, general shopkeepers. You talk to the husband to basically access the shop, and you just talk to her if you just want to talk to people. What do you call it? So these guys here, every other year they won't be here. They actually go across the river, which we don't have access to until like our third year. So yeah. So next year they won't be here and stuff. So down here is the Moogle house. And this is where you're going to get the stamp that has only this is where you get this. So this Moogle house is unique in the sense that there's two Moogles here. Sorry about that. One sec. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, there's two Moogles here.
Hello, Capo.
That stamp is one of a kind. Okay, and he now explains what mimic means. Now, the annoying thing is every time you get your, stamp that completes a set, you're gonna get that exact same dialogue every single time. It sucks. But that's just how these games are. Anyway. Now, he doesn't really have any materials or stuff to basically use. Actually, I wonder,
Hello, Capo.
Did I store any? No, I didn't. Oh, well, whatever. He doesn't really need a high-grade weapon to go here. I mean, it'd be nice, but, it's fine. Honestly, what I should have done was I should have just grinded off camera to, so everyone had at least, so I had at least enough, novice weapons and stuff to basically outfit the party. But it really wouldn't have mattered because I wouldn't have had the necessary amount of iron. Because, your first year, iron is a really rare drop. Unless, of course, you're coming here. Because this is an iron mine. This is usually where you're going to get your first chunk of iron. If RNG smiles upon you, of course.
When the grandfather of my grandfather's grandfather was still a child, no one in this land could challenge the might of the Lilties. They forged weapons of iron to bring the world under their dominion. But eventually, the mine was exhausted, and the Lilties' unstoppable conquest ground to a halt. The Lilties' ambition vanished along with the iron. They abandoned the mine, where monsters now thrive.
Okie doke. Catheriges? I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, defeat enemies with spells. Alright, well. I'm clearly not gonna get anything good. Oh well. That'd be a phenomenal bonus for my uke, but for a Lilty. Now, this dungeon will be the one that really kind of tests you, for the most part. Because here, well, for one, you got these jerks. That thing they cast is Meteor, by the way. You do not want to be in that. And when they die, that happens. Ooh, bronze. Nice. Alright, now, I'm gonna need that for next year. And I also would like to have fire resistance here. Specifically against those guys. So when they do that, they're literally blocking you. So these are one of the few enemies in the game that actually have defensive capabilities. In the sense that, you know, their shield actually works like a shield. It's not just there for show. But yeah, but this is the location where you're kind of going to get, we're kind of going to get hammered a little bit, because the enemies here are much tougher than the other zones you've been in. The orcs can hit fairly hard, the ogres are nothing to snuff at, and yes, that does damage. Now when he does that, yep. Thank you. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of that. Now, as you can see, my magic stat is 10. So you're not going to see much magic casting from this character, that's for sure. I might get some artifacts that increase his magic stat a little bit, but that's just really for general purpose reasons. Not really so much because I want him to be able to cast magic. There. There we go. So yeah, when they do that, that's a great time to punish them. There we go. Alright. Now, as you can see here, there are these two switches. You want it so it does that. You don't want this. No, sorry. You do want this. So, when you come in here, make sure that this switch is pressed and not that one, because if you have that one pressed, then your cart is going to go in this direction, and then you lose it, and then you have to go back to the beginning to get a new one. There it goes. And you kind of need this cart to progress through the level, because this is the only thing that can break those boxes. Bad. There should be a... Yeah. Alright, so that's it for this section. Now, when you have two enemies like this, you kind of want, at the very least, if you can't separate them, to at least have them attack simultaneously, so that way you can capitalize on the openings. Honestly, I don't even know why I bothered saying that out loud. That's just so obvious. Alright, now, yep, there he is. So this here is an ogre. Another fun little fact. Ow! Look at that! He did a heart and a half with one hit. This guy is no joke. He can literally kill you. No contest. Always have Phoenix Downs equipped if you're going to be fighting this guy melee weapons. He's also really hard to stun. You have to be hitting him with really hard weapons. With weapons that do significant damage to even so much as stun this guy. But, you know, he's an ogre. Now, you can do this, but it takes forever to whittle his health down that way. But it's a nice way to get some cheap hits if you are not confident that you'll be able to get away after your charge attack hits. Because this guy has really fast recovery time. Like, I mean really fast. Like, yeah, that attack, ugh, really hard to get a hit in and then get out of that range, and he's dead now. Okay. Right. Usually the big guys, in every level, will give you artifacts. Because, you know, they're a much more powerful elite enemy, so ideally they drop better things. So ogres... Yes, iron! Just what I needed. Selkie's gonna be jacked up for the next one. Ow. There. Alright. So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so, as far as items go in regards to their drops, so ogres, if they don't, you know, if they're not, yeah, the range isn't that great on this. But yeah, ogres, the main thing you want from them is their horn, because that's used for, creating certain weapons. Like, if I recall, I think a lilty weapon requires an ogre horn. There we go. Now, if you're really lucky, you can kill that thing, which then does fire damage to the orc. But the only way you usually get lucky like that is if you're a spellcaster, because as you can see, both of them are kind of close to each other. Now, there's really no point to coming up to this little terrace, mostly because there's nothing up here for this year. In the preceding years, more chests will spawn, and there'll be a few up here. But in your first year, not so much. But yeah,
Capone, it's your turn.
but yeah, ogres, they mostly so if they don't drop you an artifact, they'll either drop you their horn or really good crafting items like orichalcum. So I've never gotten orichalcum this early in the game.
Let me carry the chalice, Capone.
But if you do get it, then that's phenomenal. That's a great it's a great stepping stone. Granted, of course, there's really no point in getting orichalcum this early in the game because you will have nothing to use it on. There's literally no now I just do that just because I can. But yeah, there's no point in getting orichalcum this early in the game, even though there's a possibility you could. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if, like, certain items are designed to only spawn in later portions of the game, like period. But I do know for a fact that ogres can drop orichalcum because in later parts of the game, they just drop it in. It just kind of becomes like a common drop for them. I mean, granted, it's still a fairly rare drop, but I don't need 2 of those. So, fun little fact: originally, stuff like that didn't actually stack in your inventory. That's a new thing they added. Originally, those things would each take an inventory slot. They wouldn't pile up on top of each other. So if you had 4 cure stones, you literally had each one taking up an inventory slot, and your inventory got full fast. Because even though it feels like it's like one of those, like, you know, it's like an infinite inventory, it's really not. It's a finite. Ooh, magma rocks? Oh, iron shard. Yeah, so they have the chance of dropping either iron shards, bronze, iron, or the best drop from them is magma rocks. So, which you use in crafting, mostly, how would you jerk? Mostly you use it for accessories, but you can also use it for elemental resistant armor, like a fire belt plus, like a fire belt, or a like a mail of fire resistance, which gives you like both of them give. Like, both of those items give you a resistance to fire +1, but, you know, the armor is the one you would want the most because any character can use it, as opposed to the belt, which can only be used by Selkie. Granted, of course, if you have a fire belt and a fire resistant armor, then you effectively have fire resistance +2, which means you take way less fire damage than you normally would. Like, the disparity between +1 and +2 is huge. Like, if you get, like +2 usually means you are entering, like, boss level territory of, damages and stuff. So...
It's your turn.
So having a +2 of anything effectively means that bosses just take a huge nerf. Granted, of course, there are some bosses in the game where that doesn't really matter, but still, +2 is nothing to sneeze at.
Let me carry the chalice, Capo.
Now, as I said before, Mog will get tired. Don't need that. He will get tired, as you just saw, and he will occasionally have you carry the chalice instead. This can be mitigated by just having him drop it and then pick it back up. If I, at least that's how I get around it. But yeah, the only time he ever usually, so when there are no monsters around and all you're doing is walking like I am, he gets tired much quicker than he would if there were monsters and I'm just fighting them. I mean, he still gets tired. I mean, there was one time he literally got tired during a boss.
Capo, it's your turn.
But yeah, like there was a time where he literally got tired in the middle of a boss fight and I'm like, could you not? Like, but yeah, you can usually tell how tired Mog is getting by how quickly you're able to get to the circumference of your, circumference, what am I saying? Like how quickly you can get to the diameter of your ring. If you can get to the diameter much faster than his flying speed, then he's getting tired, and you might want to carry the chalice for a little while. Yeah, see? These guys are much tougher. They take 2 dedicated hits to take them down. There we go. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm picking up all this magic. I don't need it. Yeah, I don't need clear. I don't really need rise either. That's fun. Yeah, clear again. Alright. Now, the bog house will be in this area of the map, and it will be on one of these little side sections. So be sure to check those before you leave. There we go. Now, there are orc spellcasters in this area, so be careful. Essentially, if you see an orc that doesn't have a shield... Oh wow, I got them both. So if you see an orc that doesn't have a shield and he just has like a big stick, that's the spellcaster, and you better watch out for him. Because, what do you call it? He can, in later iterations of the dungeon, he can actually cast higher level spells like Blizzagar and Fyra and stuff like that. But still. Alright. Oh yeah, I might as well show you where the these new mimic crystals, they actually go in, they're actually in the same tab where your artifacts are. Here, let me show you. So yeah, you just tab over and then here they are. And then voila, here's one of the caravanners. This one's from the Mars Pass caravan, to be specific. And then this is where you would be able to view your artifacts when you actually acquire them. The artifacts you find in the dungeon are kept on that screen over there. Or, sorry, that section on the right. You know, pretty much says it plain and clear. I'm pretty sure... Yeah, yep. So, as you can see, even though you don't technically own these artifacts, by having them there, you actually do gain the benefits while you're in the dungeon. So that's why I'm able to make use of the Earth Pendant and the Moogle Pocket, even though they're technically not mine yet, but I do gain benefit from their mystical abilities. And there he is. Now, right... Oh, that's right, he can curse you. That's why he's annoying. As I explained in the last episode, curse is just awful. You never want to be cursed. But yeah, here's a better look at him. He just has that big stick. There we go, now he's out of the picture. Take that. Now, I don't think I've explained it yet, but food, apart from healing you, it also does give you minor benefits to your stats. So it's not a terrible idea to just basically scoff down, like, some of your favorite foods before, during a boss fight. Ooh, yes! Earth Pendant. So, alright, so quick rundown. So, meat and fish will give you a slight increase to your strength. The gourd potato, the round corn, and the star carrot increase your physical defense, and then all the fruits, the rainbow grapes, the cherry clusters, and the strawberries will increase your magic. That's why my little T doesn't particularly like those. Granted, of course, he doesn't really like fish or star carrots for that matter, but frankly, the 3 he has there are perfectly fine. I might make him like fish a little more, just so I have 2 avenues of increasing his strength, but yeah, that's pretty much the rundown, more or less. Alright. Now, the boss of this area is, honestly, is kind of a joke to me, and you'll understand why. Then you'll understand why at the end. Just something you need to know. If you are not confident of being able to get a heal off, but basically, you know, during the fight, you have 2 avenues to go with. You either always have a Phoenix down equipped to your command slot right there, at which point if you die you just re-heal and then you can just keep at it again, but just make sure to re-equip it afterward. Or you can basically do this, or you can just, you know, instead of having cure there, you can just basically put, like, food there. And then you'll consume it, but you will have to re-equip it. Because even though I have 4, technically only 1's equipped there. But, I'll keep the cure there just because I'm pretty, I mean, I'm fairly certain he's not gonna hit me once. But, yeah, but yeah, all in all, this fight is not that hard. The only thing that makes it a teeny bit difficult is just the ads. I think this is the first boss. Wait, no. The Marlboro had 2 ads, so I'm pretty sure this guy also has 2 orcs alongside him. I don't know if they spawn both at the same time, or if they just, because as you know, the ads do keep coming back as the fight progresses, but I'm pretty sure year 1 he only has 1 ad. I mean, we're gonna see in a moment. But yeah, our destination is right past there, and yep, you didn't come up the obvious way. Look at that guy. He's so cool. Problem is though, he's such an easy fight. Alright. Don't be in that area of effect when he hits you. You'll get hit for a fair amount of fire damage. Yep. It's only 1. Alright, so yep. That's pretty much the only attack you have to worry about. Well, apart from that, wow, he is. I'm just gonna have to do this. There we go. Now, as you can see, my strength went up by 2, because I partook in it. Essentially, you want to hit him when he's... Wow. Man. He's landing way more hits than he usually does, but then again, I'm playing as a Lilty who's just inherently squishy. But yeah, so this guy, he effectively has 3 avenues of attacks. He has that long-range spell attack. He can basically strike you with that weird flail of his. And then he also does that spinning attack. Now, as you can see, the ads are like pitifully weak. So weak, actually. Oh yeah, and he can also strike with his hand. It's a lot slower than that, though. That flail is way faster. Yeah, see? He'll usually always miss you with that one. Well. why I see this guy as a jerk. Oh, and now he's doing that. Ow. Oh yeah, they can also do a shield dash. Alright, so at this point, go all the way over here and defend. Trust me, you just want to do this. There it goes. Yeah. Every time he reaches 1/4 of his health, or I think 1/3 technically, he just explodes. He tries to take you out with himself. Never works. All you have to do is go to the other end of the room, and you'll completely avoid the blast. He's such an idiot. Now, you can defeat him before he explodes, but I personally just like seeing him self-destruct. He's such a boob. I swear. It's like, okay. Or King, you self-destruct. So hopeless. Oh gosh, it's funny. It's really funny though is that if you have Phoenix Downs, you will actually revive if you die. So that's always why I have. In this case, I always have Phoenix Downs equipped with this with my melee characters. My Yuke is usually fairly far away, that the blast is negligible. And even if he is within the blast radius, all he has to do is just go into his defense, and he's literally intangible. You can't hit him from any direction.
Hail Moogle at your service, Capo.
Alright. I'll probably keep the heart pendant.
Here you go, Capo.
Oh, my brother sent me a letter. Let's see. Oh, this is probably about... Oh, yeah, he's apologizing because he should have been the one chosen. Yep. I should be the one in the caravan instead of you, but if I left now, you know, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Psst. Alright, now. My family are blacksmiths. I don't need iron shards, so I'll send him some iron shards. I want to keep the iron,
I got your
obviously.
reply, Capo. So long, Capo.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I'm surprised I got a 66. Alright, let's see. I can increase my strength by 1. Magic or defense. Obviously, I'll just go for the heart container, because more hearts means less death. Alright, now it's time for the festival. So basically, at the end of each year, this festival happens, and the 4 families of the caravan you're currently using, by which case I mean either the 4 characters on top or the 4 characters on the bottom. They all just gather around here, and then pretty much just go over your diary entries, as well as also bathing the crystal in the Murtree's essence, thus restoring its miasma repelling properties for another year. I gotta say, I really like the fact that they upgraded the production value here a little bit. It looks much better now than it did before. But, you know, that's next generation well, technically this is not next generation anymore. Next generation is the PS5 and whatnot, but still, you know, this is like, what, like 4 console generations? Because you had the GameCube and the... Yeah, probably... No, just 2. Yeah, this is 2 console iterations. So long as we're not including, you know, like the upgraded versions of the console in between every generation, which I don't, because all that's doing is just upgrading the performance value of the console. It doesn't really so much as end the era. Yeah. I really like these guys. Like, I always imagined that basically, every time a village is, you know, basically every time a village is about to celebrate their festival, they hire these 4 people specifically because honestly, I don't know where they live. I mean, they could live in that house back there, but I assume that belongs to the village elder. Who... Oh my goodness, like, I gotta say, one of my favorite things about all this is just how much effort they actually went into making each one of the races unique in their own way. So, with the exception of the children, who all dance exactly the same way because, you know, they're kids, so they haven't learned the specific steps of, you know, their people's dancing. Like, everyone else has a unique dancing style. Like, the Yuke's dancing style is way different than the Lilties, and the Lilties, conversely, is way different from the Selkies, who's way different than the Clovats. I mean, you know, like, the Clovats, they got, like, this sort of, river dance, little number. The Selkies incorporate their fluid and flexible bodies by basically doing all kinds of acrobatics and stuff. The Ukes, being insanely tall, make use of their ridiculously long arms and whatnot. And then you got the Lilties, who, you know, because they're so short and stubby, they just kind of waddle around and whatnot. Like, even the Moogles have, like, their own little unique dancing number, as they, you know, lacking any arms to speak of, they just kind of do this sort of, what is it, what would you call it, honestly, I don't really know what you would call that. All they're really doing is just going around in a circle, but, I find it interesting. But my absolute favorite has to be the Elder. Because it's like... Because I assume he's a Clavat, which is why, you know, he has some minor footwork in it, but, you know, he's so old and so, dare I say it, decrepit, that all he can do is just shuffle his feet around. But the fact that he tries is admirable. I mean, look at that. He puts his knees into it a little bit. You can see that his, you know, his knees bend a little bit as he's basically shuffling his feet back and forth. But yeah. And then also another thing that's also interesting to note is basically the choice of their instruments. Like the Clavats are using a lute, or sorry, not a lute. That's a balalaika? I think that's what it is. Well, either way, it's you know, it's an acoustic instrument like all the others. But what do you call it? But yeah, like you got like the Clavats basically using a string instrument. You have the Selkies basically using a tambourine, which makes perfect sense given the fact that they're kind of like Romanian gypsies, where they don't necessarily have a place to call their own. Well, sort of. A little more on that later. Then you have the Lilties, who basically have like a... I want to say that's... like... I think that's a piccolo, right? Well, it's a type of flute, at the very least. And then my personal favorite, the accordion, which makes excellent use of the uke's incredibly long arms, and I would say dexterous fingers too, because the thing about accordions is not only are they basically a back and forth motion while you're basically opening and closing the air by basically squeezing and contracting the central part, but some more basically, what's the word? Yeah, this just goes on for a few more seconds. Eventually it fades to black. I mean, you can always just skip it if you want, but I personally don't. Like, this is a nice one where you get like a good view of the whole thing without any of the dialogue in the way. But yeah, the thing about accordions is that basically, what I personally like about some of them is that they have like valves and stuff that you can basically open and close, thus changing the overall tone and pitch. And then there are other ones that also have like a little keyboard on the side, which are really nice. But yeah, accordions are a very interesting weapon. Very interesting musical instrument, as it can be an amalgamation of different types. But yeah, so this is the closing journal entry for this year. Alright, so now, as you can see, fire. But you'd probably be going like, but wait a minute, how can you have fire? There's only two elements, right? You have wind and water. Is that why you had to basically think ahead and basically get the fire? But how could you possibly know that? More on that in the next episode. But yeah, so this allows you to, like, on this map you can actually... Oh, it doesn't let me go any further than that, since I haven't explored those other regions, so it's not going to show me. But yeah, as you can see, by clicking on these regions, it shows you the dungeons, as well as the towns that are present there, as well as also the elements you have access to. Case in point here, too. Oopsie, gave it away. That's right, a new dungeon has spawned. Because otherwise, if you didn't do what I did, you'd be stuck here. Alright. Okay, so... what do you call it? So this is the tailor's house. This is where you would come, you'd basically talk to the father. So all the fathers, they're the ones that are basically in charge of all the trade, so to speak. So whoever you have associated for those jobs, just basically, ooh, bronze shard, that's actually a really good drop. There are times where you can get good stuff, but most of the time you usually just want to get it off the monsters, really. But there are times where you can find some good stuff. Alright, so, back over here. What do you know? This is where our resident Mog lives. Or rather, Moogle, because Mog is Mog. Like, that's his name. It's not a shortening.
Hello, Capo. Capo.
There we go. Alright. Now, one thing you want to do before you set out is you want to basically come back into town as each one of your characters and then have them talk to their father, because their father is going to give them a little stipend.
Oh.
Now, the amount you receive is dependent on how your family likes you. If they really like you, it could be somewhere up in the excess of a few hundred gil. So, if you don't have, like, basically a you know, like, if you didn't make a character to fill this role here, then you just have a Moogle, just basically just resting there. And then if you talk to him, all he'll say is like, "Oh, nobody's home. Sorry, nobody's home right now." Alright. And then that's where basically your little storage Moogle is. Now, every year up to your 7th year, when you leave the village elder will come and greet you and basically send you off properly.
Nice.
Now, this is very important what he's talking about.
Now listen. Farewell.
It's a pity they never voice act him. I would have liked to hear him voice act. I would have liked to have. Ugh. Oh boy, I'm just stumbling over my words. That means I'm tired. Anyway, so this year we're going to be going as Winry? No, that's Winry. Anne. Yep. I'll check to see if any one of them has a novice weapon, because he's got the iron to supply it, and then all I need is to buy some alloy, and then I'll be able to get her a novice weapon, so that way she's not going in there with her starting equipment. But, yeah, for now, though, that's all there is, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Until that time, though, this is Mega Wizard 79, bidding you all adieu.